Welcome to the Paranormal Stakeout Radio TV show with Larry Lawson. As a former career law enforcement officer and law enforcement educator, Larry focuses on the use of tried and true law enforcement investigative techniques in conducting paranormal investigations. Despite his experience and training, Larry also keeps an open mind to discussions on topics that deal with evidence that are not quite as physical in nature. Paranormal Stakeout guests are professionals in the field of the paranormal and parapsychology, conducting the investigations and research needed to further the cause of paranormal study. Larry advocates an agenda of standardization of structure and training in the field of paranormal investigation and research for the purpose of one day being able to produce the evidence needed to convince a jury of the existence of the paranormal. Whether it is ghosts, UFOs, unsolved mysteries, hauntings or cryptids, no topic is beyond the investigative reach of Larry Lawson and the Paranormal Stakeout Radio TV show team. Now, here is the host of the Paranormal Stakeout Radio TV show, Larry Lawson.
Greetings all and welcome back to Paranormal Stakeout. As always, I'm your host, Larry Lawson. Welcome you back to the show. It's good to be back here again from our home base in Vero Beach, Florida. Now, as you all know, that I have a team down here, the Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation, and I'd love it if you guys could check out what we do. And you can see our website at paranormalfbi.com. And you can also catch us on Facebook at Florida Bureau of Paranormal Investigation. You can also check out some of our YouTube events at Indian River Hauntings 2341, and a lot of our investigations and some of the other work we've done is up there. So would like to invite you to go take a look at that. Now, our outreach, if you will, is Indian River Hauntings, and Indian River Hauntings can be found at indianriverhauntings.com and also on Facebook. So check us out, see what we're doing down here in Florida, especially if you're another team that would like to collaborate, because I'm very, very big into paranormal unity and collaboration between teams. Also want to remind you, too, if you have questions, thoughts, or comments, you can get a hold of me at ghostguy@paranormalstakeout.org. That's ghostguy@paranormalstakeout.org. You can write questions. If you have something you want to ask, something you want to just mention, send it on in, and we'll bring it right up here at the beginning of each show. Now, for the last couple of times, we've been talking a lot about the mind. We've been talking a lot about spirits and ghosts. But tonight, I'm excited to start delving into other areas of the paranormal. We're going to talk about cryptids tonight. My guest is Mr. Javier Morales. He runs an organization called Cryptid 559. They share encounters and experiences with cryptid and UFOs, and he is in the central San Joaquin Valley of California. They've had several experiences out there, especially about a creature that I'm not familiar with, or just learning about, I should say, known as Dogman. So with that, I'd like to welcome to the show, Javier Morales.
Hello, everybody. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Javier. Thanks for being here, man. I want to talk about the...
I want to just say thank you for having us and inviting us on your show. Thank you so much.
It's great to have somebody from the great state of California here. And you're up near just south of Fresno, east of Fresno, right?
We're southeast of Fresno, about 30 minutes. Just southeast of Fresno. In a little town called Wheatley, California.
Oh, okay. Terrific. Yeah. Now, I'm very, very anxious to talk to you about this phenomenon called Dogman. But first, I'd like the audience to hear a little about who Javier Morales is, who he is, and how he got involved, how you got involved here in the world of cryptozoology and the paranormal. So share that with us.
Well, I grew up here in the Central Valley of California. It's ag, it's rich in ag. We have citrus, lemons, grapes, a mixture of all kinds of fruit, tree fruit and vines. So this area, is known for. This area is actually known for UFOs. A lot of UFO sightings out here, especially the black triangles. Mm-hmm. And since I was a kid, I've been hearing about the black triangles and UFO strange lights around It's another little town called Orange Cove, is where I grew up. It's about 15 minutes east of Wheatley, California. So it's just
Mhm.
these small communities, and a lot of strange lights were always being seen out there because it's close to the hills.
Mhm.
And so yeah, since I was a kid, I was always hearing about these stories and strange lights in the sky, and that's how I got started in UFO. Actually, I wanted to know more about UFO,
Mhm.
and then when I was around 10 years old, this was back in the late 80s. My family, myself and my family, we had a two black triangle encounter out here
Mhm.
in the country, and yeah, ever since then it's just been UFOs, and then my mom would tell me stories about the ghosts, the paranormal, I guess you would say,
Mhm.
type
Mhm.
experiences that my mom and my grandma would have,
Mhm.
and other family members. So then they got into the paranormal. So then I wanted to know more about that,
Mhm.
and then uh, and then that's how I guess I just always been intrigued by it.
Well, now I'm going to go back a little bit here. You
Uh-huh.
mentioned the black triangles. For our guests that may not really understand what the black triangles are, can you kind of describe that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a huge black triangular craft. This
Okay.
thing is massive. It's as big as a cruise ship, I would say. When I was remember seeing these things, they were huge. They were massive, um, and they were silent, stealth. They had no engine noise when we were observed them. When they went over us, they
Mhm.
were going really, really slow. And they have on these triangles, they have a white light in each triangle tip. Okay, there's
Mhm.
a white light on each tip, and then there's a big red light in the center of this craft. Okay, so there was two of them. They were next to
Mhm.
each other. They were next to
Mhm.
each other, and they were hovering, and they were heading east towards the Sierras, and when they went over us, we observed them. Like I said, um, they didn't hear any sound. They did black out all the stars above us, so we were able to see the shape. And then, like I said, the lights on each tip. And then we watched them as they went over the orchards and then over the Sierras. And now, as I started our YouTube channel and researching, over the Sierras is Area 51. It's Nevada on the other
Ah,
side.
okay. Okay. All right.
So,
So that was your first major experience then.
oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
And then um, just want to say one thing real quick. After that encounter, um, when I started our YouTube channel, I talked to my mom and I told her I'm going to make a video out in the area when we had our encounter of the triangles. She said, yeah, and then she told me, did I ever tell you about what happened to me after that we saw those triangles? I go, no, what happened? So she said that for 3 consecutive nights after we saw those crafts, she would wake up at night hovering above the bed with this red light on her, but she couldn't move. But she was hovering above the bed. She could only move her eyes, and she could see my dad on the bed asleep. But she said it happened 3 consecutive nights. I don't know if it's related um, to that, but I wanted to tell you, the guys, about what happened to her.
interesting.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. So your family has had these types of experiences for quite a while.
yeah,
Um, you were a young boy when this happened. What, 10? I think you said.
yeah.
What happened next that got you more intrigued and wanting to dig in further?
Well, after that encounter, obviously, I wanted to know more, so I started researching more.
Hmm.
Ended up getting into Roswell, the UFO, reading books on that, and then other encounters that are happening here in the valley. I was hearing other stuff, and I would try to get as much information as I could. Where exactly it happened,
Hmm.
and in the valley here. I was
Hmm.
just more concentrated here in the valley. I would hear stories of over Europe and other countries and in other states, but I was wanting to know more in our area, particularly in our area, so I can go out and check these areas out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, wh- what happened after that? Because I want to get to where you're at right now.
Okay, so then I got in 2017 there was a report of some Bigfoots. Okay,
Okay.
so Bigfoots, we thought we're up in the Sierras, up in the mountains up there,
Hmm.
Yosemite, because Yosemite's about 2 hours north from us, and then we got Kings Canyon National Park, which is about an hour east of us.
Hmm.
So we thought, me saying myself and my friends, we thought Bigfoot's up in the mountains. They're not running around here on the valley floor. Well, there was a story that came out about Avocado Lake, which is about 15 minutes north of Wheatley, California. It's called Avocado Lake, and there was a story that came out about this farmer that had an encounter with a family of Bigfoot. There was 5 of them on his ranch, and we heard about that. So we ended up starting to go out. Me, my cousin, and our other group member Jesus. We started going out to this Avocado Lake area, and that's in 2017. October of 2017, we started going out to this particular area. We wanted to see if we could catch a glimpse, anything, experience anything. We wanted to see it. We wanted to see what's going on. And then I started researching this area, and then I came across a MUFON website, and on MUFON's page, they have a map of all the people that have called in with the encounters of UFOs. And I just wanted to look around Avocado Lake, and I did, and they have when I did that, there was a huge cluster of sightings around Avocado Lake. So I go, so this is a huge cluster of sightings around this lake. So there's got to be something going on around here. So then, so that was one thing that we found out. So then we started going out there, like I said. Now, nothing happened. We never experienced any until 2018, when me and my cousin got some night vision goggles, and we wanted to try them out. So in 2018, we went out to this area. It was in, I believe it was June of 2018. So we went out this particular night. It was getting dark already by the time we got there. We parked on a little turnout right here by a bridge and along the Kings River. And we got off, and we were just trying out these night vision goggles. So we started trying them out. I was looking at the ridges. My cousin was looking down along the river, getting a feel for them. So he notices right away. He noticed something along the riverbank, like 2 set of eyes inside a tree that was along the riverbank. They looked like they're staring right back at us. So he's telling me this, like, okay, well, keep an eye on it, see if it blinks or if it moves or anything, see what it does, and just let me know. So he's doing that. He's concentrated on that. So then I'm over here with the other ones looking at all the ridges, and then all of a sudden I turn around. So behind us is the road, obviously, and then there's the beginning of the ridge across the street. So when I turn around, I bring my goggles to my chest. I bring them down, and then I see this, and I see this huge muscular type creature. And I couldn't see the face, but I could see it was a human body. It was all muscular. The arms were muscle. The chest, the height, it was on 2 feet. It was doing this. I want to estimate the height for at least 8 to 10 feet tall. And then the chest part was at least 4 to 5 feet wide. And this thing was massive. And in my head, I would say, I'm seeing a Sasquatch. I'm seeing a Sasquatch, because it had a human type body. And then when it did that, it dropped on all 4s, and then it took off running. And then I saw it had like a bump on the back of the neck, like a lion does, that mane.
Okay.
I saw that. I did see that. I still couldn't see the face. It was all black. So it was running, and then it came to a part on this hill. There was a little crease on this hill. He came to that part, and then he rolls its arms up again. I can see the hands that time. I can see the hands. Then I can see it had like claws at the tips. You can see the claws, and then again you can see all the muscle. I can see its back, all muscular, and then it went down to a V shape, down to the hips. Then I could see the thighs, all muscle. The calves were all muscle. I didn't see a tail. I couldn't see the feet. But when it did this, it grabbed onto the side of that hill, and then it brought up its legs. It leaped up, and then it turned its head to the side. And that's when I saw he had a long snout. It had canines, and then I can see the pointy ears. And then I'm like, what the heck? What am I seeing? This thing has a dog head on it. It's not Sasquatch. This thing has a German Shepherd type head on it. And then so then I'm all in shock. And it's like, okay, that's not Sasquatch. What am I seeing? A werewolf? So thoughts are going through my mind as I'm witnessing this, right? And then it did it again. It raised up its arms again. It grabbed on and then it brought up its legs again. When I saw the legs again, I could see like on its thighs, it resembled like it had ripped shorts, believe it or not.
like human shorts.
Yeah, like it had
Okay.
shorts, like an Incredible Hulk, like he rips his
Okay.
shorts like that. And then,
Okay.
and I'm like, dude, I was like, what am I? It's like, this is crazy. It's like, come on. And then when it did the second time, when it grabbed on and it leaped up, it stayed low to the ground. And then it crawled like a spider, low to the ground on all fours over the ridge and quick.
Uh-huh.
And and throughout this whole time, it was stealth, Larry. It didn't make a sound at all. Nothing.
Well, let me ask you a couple of questions, because the first thing that caught my ear is you mentioned the night vision goggles. Were they military grade NVGs or?
No, they're not military grade. No.
Okay.
I can't afford any of that stuff.
I was going to say, if you did,
Yeah.
if you had those would be pretty pricey.
Yeah.
Any chance those goggles could have caused some for you to skew what you saw? Any chance at all, do you think?
I don't know. Like I said, I brought them down to my chest, so I wasn't even seeing through. I wasn't looking through the
Okay,
goggles.
you were okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what did you think this creature was? What's the first thing that came to mind?
Yeah, like I said, for the first thing I thought it was Sasquatch.
Right.
I thought it was Sasquatch, and then when I saw the dog head on it, it's like, dude, this is a werewolf or a Dogman. I had heard about Dogman in the Midwest. It's big time over there in the
In
Midwest.
Michigan, yeah. In
Yeah,
Michigan or
Ohio,
correct.
Michigan, Wisconsin. You got the land between the lakes story out there.
Mhm.
But over here, I never heard about Dogman sightings or anything like that, or any werewolf sightings. I've never heard anything like that. And when I saw this, it's like, dude. And then right away, when I got home, I started researching dog-headed creatures, and that's when all this Dogman stuff started coming up, and I started going into it. I
Mhm.
even found the North American Dogman Project, which I ended up joining as an
Mhm.
investigator. So I am part
Okay.
of that. Yeah.
Yeah, now I've noticed on that because I've seen that site also. One of the leaders even equates this creature called Dogman as possibly a werewolf
Hmm.
of European lore.
Correct.
What do you think this is? I mean, you had the experience, you were there. What do you think?
I think it's possible it could be a werewolf, or I don't know about a skinwalker. There is native sites out there, sacred sites in
Mhm.
that area that we found already. But I don't know if skinwalkers tend to get that big. Okay, I'm not familiar with that. I'm not sure. Usually,
Okay.
pictures that depict skinwalkers, they have
Mhm.
the felt of the animal on them, and they're skinny, and I don't know if they get muscular like that. I have no idea, and that big.
And now you were able to see this creature. Was it a lit night? Was there a moon out that night that allowed you to see?
Um, I want to say, well, the sun had just gone down, so it was
Okay.
dusk, and then we have the city of Fresno. You can see behind the mountains, you can see all the lighting. So that
Mhm.
kind of had a little bit of a light up there, but I can see the whole outline of this
Yeah.
creature.
I have, we got talking, I got interested, but we've got to take our break, and I apologize. So hang that thought. We'll be back right after these messages, folks. My guest tonight, Javier Morales with Cryptid 559. Be back after these messages. And we are back with my guest, Javier Morales from Cryptid 559. Javier, interesting story. Uh, Fascinating how it just creeped up on you. Now, your cousin, I guess, that was with you, saw some eyes down below towards the waterline, I guess. Did you ever
Yeah, out
figure
the
out?
river.
Did you ever figure out what that was?
After this creature went over the ridge, and I told my
Mhm.
cousin, and he didn't even hear anything, or else he would have turned around, right? So this thing was
Mhm.
stealth, like I said. I told him, hey cousin, I just saw something. So then we went back and looked because he broke visual. So we went back and to see if those eyes were what looked like eye shine was still
Mhm.
there, and it wasn't there anymore. They had
Interesting.
yeah, they had left. So I don't know if we got in between this creature hunting maybe some um animal like wild boar or
Mhm.
something down there, or I've heard that these things like the Sasquatch babies. they go after Sasquatch babies. I don't know if that's what it
Okay.
was, or if it was smaller Dogman pups, if you want to say pups, if they were down there. I don't know, but
You you just you knew something else was down there. Tell me,
yeah,
when you saw this creature, did it seem like it acknowledged you, or
yeah, that's what it. It when it did this. So obviously, it was trying to get my attention. Like
Mhm,
it was doing this, and then when I actually did eye contact to it, it dropped on all fours and it took off, and it was
mhm.
fast. And another thing, when it was running on all fours, it kind of moved kind of weird. Okay, I'm gonna tell you how it moved. Back in the days, they used to draw little cartoons in a little notebook on the corner of the paper, and then they flip them.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so you know how when you're flipping the pages and it moves like that. That's
Mhm.
how it was. That's how it was moving, Larry. It was kind of weird. Okay,
How long do you think this entire incident, that you had, how long
it
did it
was.
last?
I would say a minute, no more than a minute. It was fast. It was
Were
pretty
you
quick.
and you weren't able to shout anything to your cousin who was there?
No, I didn't want to look at him because I didn't want to break visual because this thing was jamming. I want to remember everything, all the detail that I could
Mhm.
off this creature. And I wanted.
Now,
I didn't want to break visual. I didn't want it to jump over. If it really wanted us, it could have jumped from where it was at and taken
mhm.
us out. If it really wanted us.
So interesting. Now, I've got to ask you this question. Being an old cop, I think of evidence, and that's where I want to go with this. Did you guys have any cameras or anything with you that night?
We did have one, but we didn't have them facing that side of the mountain.
Oh, so you actually had like a
I,
film,
yeah,
video rolling?
I had a dash cam going, but
Mhm,
it was facing towards the west. It wasn't facing north.
mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so
Well, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about evidence in a couple of seconds here. But since that time, so your first with the black triangles, you were about 10.
mhm.
And how many years was it later that you had this incident?
So the Black Triangles was in 87. So then this one was in 2018.
So almost 20, 30 years. Anything, were you doing this kind of work in between it all? Had you had any other encounters of anything during?
The only thing between that timeline, we weren't doing we didn't have a YouTube channel or a group.
Mhm. Man, not back then. Yeah.
Back then, and when I first got married in 2000, we moved into this house, and me and my wife experienced a lot of paranormal stuff in this house. I would say it was haunted. So
Okay.
yeah, so that
So what, it wasn't Dogman or cryptid. It was more of a ghost for apparition
for
type thing.
me it was more of ghost spiritual stuff. Yeah,
Okay. All right.
yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know if you want me to get into that or not, but
Well, I got so many other things to cover, but so this period of time, you're beginning to grow in your interest in the paranormal. Your event happens in 2018. Is that when you began Cryptid 559?
yes, sir. That's when we started. I talked
Okay.
to my cousin and Jesus, and I go, what, I'm going to start this channel, and I have the UFO encounter that we can talk about, and now we have this that I've encountered
Hmm.
and experienced. So yeah, that's how it started. And Larry, let me say one more thing. After the Dogman encounter, I can see where it went up the ridge, and I knew there was tracks up there.
Hmm.
So we went back the next day in the day, and I told you we filmed the video. It's on our YouTube channel. We filmed
Right.
the video, and you can see the actual area, and we actually found the print on that
Okay.
turnout.
Okay. I saw those prints on your website. So you actually now, did you measure them at all? I mean, to compare them with maybe wolves or something like that.
I didn't measure it. I put my foot next to it. I'm a
Hmm.
size 10, but
Hmm.
obviously it was bigger than my foot and
Hmm.
wider. And like remember, it's a turnout. So this area is all compacted dirt, dry compacted dirt.
Hmm.
To leave an impression in there, it had to have
A
weight,
lot of weight.
a
Yeah.
lot of weight, and then it was heading down to the river. And
Okay.
it was only one. There was only one print that we found. It's
Really?
always one print. Yeah, sometimes we'll get lucky. We get two. You can see a trail, but
Hmm.
usually out here we're only finding one.
Okay, which leads me to my next question. You had the experience in 18, you got the group together. How much work have you done since that time, and what have you uncovered? What sort of evidence have you uncovered?
Well, we've gone out to this area now a bunch of times now, a handful of times now, and we've gone up the bridge about I'm gonna say it's 10 miles. There's a dam called Pine Flat Dam,
Hmm.
and we've been out to this area, and that's when we noticed that there is a native sacred burial ground out there.
Hmm.
That's in that area. We've also heard of other sacred sites around Avocado Lake. Avocado Lake, unfortunately, has a lot of drownings every year. For some reason, there's a lot of drownings in that lake every year, and then the Kings River goes through there, also behind Avocado Lake. There's a lot of power lines
Hmm.
coming out from the dam, so it's all in this area. So a lot of energy. We can feel energy in this area. So we're thinking there's something might be going on with this, energy and the rivers, the water.
Well, you're thinking the power lines are creating the energy. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm thinking like if there was a natural energy source there
Hmm.
already, and now we came in and put power lines, I think it just amplified this whole
Okay.
area. And I'm thinking more like a portals out here.
Oh, and I want to ask you about that a little bit too. Now, you said there's some Native American sites here. What tribe, what people are there? Do you know?
Uh, what was it? I want to say it's the Yokuts. I want to say. I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
I
Have you
can't
ever
remember.
have you ever thought about maybe approaching them? I know sometimes they're a little reluctant to discuss these
Yeah.
types of things, but have you maybe thought about going to discuss with some of the folks in the nation to find out what they've experienced and maybe something similar to what you experienced yourself? Have
I
you done?
have uh, I have a couple of friends that are Native American, and I've talked
Mhm.
to them, and yeah, they've said that they've had stories of dogmen in this area. They've heard about them.
Okay.
They've encountered them, and like, oh, really? And he goes, yeah, they've been here all along. Just
Interesting.
they just don't talk about it.
Well, yeah, and I know like the skinwalkers over in Nevada next door,
Yeah.
the folks there don't want to even just discuss that at all.
Yeah, they say they see the dogmen as protectors of natives of sacred sites, as
Oh,
guardians.
okay,
Guardians. Yeah.
okay. And they don't have anything written, I suppose. That
Nah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
they won't. It's
So
hard
have
to get. Go
go
ahead.
ahead. So what else have you uncovered? You've been working now since pretty well since 18. You're a member of the what is it, the
The,
Dogman
yeah, the North American
project?
Dogman
Dogman.
Project. Yeah.
What other work have you done with them or on your own regarding kind of
Um,
trying to unravel this mystery?
we've went with North American Dogman Project. It's we're waiting on account. Somebody having an encounter in California,
Mhm.
especially in my area. Then they would contact me, and then I'll go and investigate.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, people, they don't want to talk about it, or they don't know that site exists until they have an encounter.
Mhm.
But I haven't had any. We had one, but it wasn't in my area. We had one that was up in Riverside, California, by LA.
Mhm.
So me and the region California director, uh, me myself and his wife, we went up there to investigate that area. But that's the only one I've been a part of so
Okay.
far. On my own, we've gone out. Like I said, we know it's out here.
Mhm.
We've actually have photos of another location that we actually see it in the photo. You see the dogman staring right at us in the photo.
That's the one where you're facing the camera and it's off your right shoulder?
Facing the camera. No, no, no. That was at the Pine Flat Dam.
Oh, okay.
We think that one is a Sasquatch peeking behind a tree trunk. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's what people are telling me. That's a Sasquatch. I've never seen a Sasquatch, but when I show it, they say it's a Sasquatch, a juvenile probably.
So when you're getting ready to go out on these investigations, how do you prepare? What equipment do you have? What are the tools of your trade to
We take
to gather evidence?
yeah, we take binoculars, the night vision goggles. We have EMF detector. Um, what else do we have? Uh, Measuring devices now for for fighting prints now. Now we
Mhm.
all have that now.
Mhm.
Um Cameras, video cameras, camcorders,
Okay.
voice recorders.
Okay.
Yeah,
I, I'm
just
I'm curious about the EMF detector. That's something I would use in my
hmm
ghost investigations. Why would you use an EMF detector? That's interesting. What's
because
the
of
theory there?
the energy in that area. I know there's power lines, so I know it can set it off.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried it out there. I know when we're under the power lines, it
Mm-hmm.
does, start setting it off. So, but where the bridge is at and that turnout, there's no power lines running through there. So I
Right.
want to, so we take it out there just to see if there's any fluctuations or anything that when we feel like something's going on. Because
Mm-hmm.
when we're out there, we're always asking each other how we're feeling because
Good.
sometimes as soon as the sun goes down, that
Mm-hmm.
atmosphere changes. You can
Mm-hmm.
feel it. You can feel your hair starts to rise on your arm and behind your neck, and sometimes you start getting a headache, or
Mm-hmm.
you start feeling funny.
Do you think that this creature is emitting this, or do you think it's how? What?
I've heard of that, of the Sasquatch and Dogman having
Mm-hmm.
abilities of infrasound,
Mm-hmm.
maybe possibly making people sick. I mean, at this area, I don't know, but I can tell you about another location that I encountered some type of canine creature again in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and in that particular event, I
Mm-hmm.
did get sick. I started tasting metal in my mouth. I got a
Interesting.
headache. I got stomach ache,
Mm-hmm.
all at once, and then I started praying. I said a prayer of protection, and it went away. But
Ah,
then go ahead.
that's a question. We're going to take our next break here, but when we get back, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you think this whole thing might be. Is it spiritual? Is it us? But we'll talk about that when we come back after this break, folks. Stay with us. Paranormal Stakeout with my guest, Javier Morales. And we are back with my guest, Javier Morales, Cryptid 559. So, really fascinated with what you were just describing. You got ill after an encounter.
Mhm.
First of all, how many encounters after your first one? How many encounters with Dogman or any other type of cryptid have you had?
I want to say at least four.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess that,
and
and that's, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's because we've captured them in photo evidence in our
Hmm.
photos. You can see
Hmm.
them, and I can actually feel them and hear them, but I cannot see them. I cannot see them.
Well, then that leads into this next question. So you've had, after the first one, you've had four. You're talking about being able to feel them even though you can't see them. You talk about getting sick. You use an EMF detector because you believe you may be able to catch some sort of energy field.
Mhm.
So therefore, what do you think this creature is? What is your theory about what this creature is?
Uh, I think they have special abilities. They could be interdimensional.
Okay.
That's what we feel. They're interdimensional, spiritual for sure. Um, it's just another, yeah. Like I said, I've been hearing, a lot. People are telling me that the veil's thinning. I don't know if you heard that term already. That,
Yes.
yes. So I feel that has something to do with it. That's why we've been able to capture a lot of this stuff.
Well, there's a lot of folks that argue Bigfoot can't be real. Nobody's really ever caught any of them. But then there's the argument that they too are dimensional beings. So is that kind of the theory you're going here?
Yeah, because what we experience out there, um, they have special abilities. They have them.
Such as?
They can cloak, or I mean, like the picture that I'm telling you that it was in the background.
Hmm.
We walked that direction after we took that picture.
Hmm.
We didn't see nobody. Now we even passed through that area. We didn't see nobody walk away. Nothing. We would have
Did you
seen it.
see any evidence, broken branches, footprints, anything like
See,
that?
the reason why we took a picture is because we found it on that tree. It was
Yeah.
I believe they were starting to make a structure, like a teepee type structure,
Hmm.
and that's why we took a picture of me in that tree limb. But it turns out it was it showed up in the background about 50 yards behind us, and that's why I took that picture because I believe that was a structure. They were building a
Hmm.
structure. Now, for it to be in the background, obviously it was there. It was curious, and for us not to see it and hear it, it has special abilities. These things have special abilities. Where did it go? Where did it go? Inside the tree, or was it there all along? We just didn't hear it. We
Did,
just can't.
and your cousin took the picture, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he didn't see it walk into the frame.
No, because in 2020, that's when I discovered it. It was behind me. It was in the background. You know,
Hmm.
when we were at home, we had to stay home. I was going through all our pictures, and that's when I noticed it. That hey, there's something in the background of these pictures.
Hmm.
Because
And it's
from
a lot of
doing
how
this,
these. A lot of
yeah,
times, that's how things get found. They look at pictures late, years,
yeah,
sometimes years later.
yeah. It was about a year later. Yeah.
How?
Also, when I get sick out, like we were talking about, and I said a prayer and all this, it would go
Hmm.
away. So there is some spiritual, you know, thing to it.
And that's another reason why I asked if you had any contact with the folks of the Native American tribes in the area, because I'm certain that they have some theories on their spirituality also.
Yeah.
How do you think this whole thing, these experiences that you've had, connect with everything from aliens to ghosts as well as other cryptids? I also want to get your opinion on the Fresno Nightcrawler too.
Mhm.
How are these things all connected?
We feel like it is, and I personally myself, I feel it is because when we're
Hmm.
going out to these areas, we call them our hotspot areas. I've captured EVPs in our videos,
Okay.
okay, and I don't, and I'm asking people in other groups, hey, have you captured EVPs when you're doing your cryptid research? Now, is it the cryptids talking? Are we picking up them, or is it spirits around us that we're picking up?
Well, your
You know,
EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon, normally connected with speech. Is that what you're hearing, a speech, or are you hearing growls and things?
we're hearing speech, language. We're picking up on this particular area, Pictograph Mountain, we call it. Um, we picked up EVPs in native language. Okay, it's native type language. I don't know what they're saying, but we've typed it in. We kind of um, we we kind of typed in the word as we thought it was spelled, and
Hmm.
sure enough, it brought up. It meant it was a spring, a water spring. That there was a natural spring of water.
Hmm.
And when we get up to the top of the mountain where the pictographs are, there's a lot of mortars where they used to grind the grain. and
Hmm.
and my friends that are natives said, that's weird because it's on top of the mountain. Usually you see them by a river, these mortars, not by a water source. But then one of these pictographs, he said, you know what, that back in the days there might have been a natural spring at the
Hmm.
top of this mountain. And that
Have
was
have you had any of your native friends listen to the EVPs and see if they could understand what language it was?
they don't recognize the language, and they don't recognize the pictographs. It said it's before them. It's another tribe that
Interesting.
was before them. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
This leads to my next line that I want to really start talking about is your evidence. It sounds like you've collected quite a bit between your photographs and your EVPs and whatnot. First of all, do you have a protocol for your investigation, even through your own team or through the project? Do you have a protocol that you follow? Uh,
Like, well, like, can you explain a
Sure,
little?
sure. For example, you're about ready to do some filming, and your protocol would be the time, date, who's present, where we're at, and then you
Oh, okay,
begin your
okay,
questioning. Protocols that allow you to collect the evidence in a similar fashion each time.
gotcha.
Um, for example, whenever you see a print in the ground, you automatically stop. You either use plaster cast to make a copy of it, photograph it, measure it. Protocols like that. Do you have a standard where when you come across things that you do A, B, and C?
Actually, we don't. I'm gonna say we don't because I get a feeling, or my cousin does, and I go, you know what? Let's go out to this area.
Mhm.
I just get this feeling that we need to go out to this area.
And yeah, and that's fine. But when you get there,
Yeah.
do you have a standard that you follow just so that everything's done?
Um, just I tell the guys to, when you start feeling something, let us know, or
Okay.
ask each other. We ask each other, what are you feeling? You get headaches? Are the hair standing up on your arm or behind?
Mhm.
Anything weird that's out of the norm? Let us know. Let each other know what's going on, because sometimes one person feels it, or sometimes both of us do,
Mhm.
and usually that's when something happens. Um, Other than that, we walk around, we listen, especially at night, Larry. We don't go out walking. We don't
Mhm.
go out walking in this area because we know what's out there. We just stay still, and believe it or not, this stuff comes to you.
Well, I believe it. Yeah.
They come to you, okay? We don't have to go out there and walk and make noise and all this. No, this stuff comes to you.
Well, and the biggest reason I'm asking these questions is in order for us to collect the evidence that we need, whether it's me investigating spirits, apparitions, ghosts, you cryptids, to collect this evidence in a certain way allows us to maybe replicate or even get, keep this information and store it and use it, compare it later on type of thing. And I noticed on the project website, they talked about creating that. So I just didn't know if you had the same thing.
Yeah, the North American Dogman Project has their own outline and what we have to follow when we go out and investigate an encounter that's given to them. Personally, in our group, we don't follow those outlines. We do our thing.
Well, and I have a particular friend of mine that doesn't agree with my structure either, because of just how he is able to do things. And there's different ways, and I'm certainly not suggesting that there's only one way to do it. But I do believe that by using a procedure each time, it just helps us a little bit. Now, what do you do with the evidence once you get it? You found a footprint, and you've measured it, you've photographed it. What do you do with all that evidence?
We put it in a file, and we put it all together in one file. And I don't like to keep stuff on the computer, so we start putting it, downloading on zip drives and stuff like that.
Okay.
Start getting stuff off the computer, because like I told you once, Larry, when we started doing our channel, our phones started acting up. They started, acting up. They started doing messages weren't going through between the group members. They would get them 2 days later or a day later. Emails weren't going through. Photographs weren't going through. When our phones used to be fine, But other groups have told us that they've experienced the same stuff. Once they start doing this and they start talking about it, even on YouTube, when you start putting stuff on YouTube, I'm going to tell you a particular one. We did a video out here on the Kings River, close to town, and I used to say the actual locations where I was going, and I found out because on this area, this particular area, we have a photo evidence of looks like they're telling me it's a Sasquatch, kind of looks like a koala type face. But we have a gentleman sent me a picture of it off from our video. And the next time I went out to this area, this whole area was cleaned out all along the riverbank. All the habitat was cleaned out. Now, how why? And I even asked the ranch owner, it's like, what happened here? What happened? Why is it cleaned out? You guys cleaned it out? He goes, oh no, the county came in and cleaned it out. And it was only his property. Now, how do they know it was that one? I used, like I said, I used to say exactly where I was going, and now I don't do that no more.
So you think there may be some involvement from other government officials to maybe cover this up, is what you're suggesting?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But why?
Yeah, that's the question. Why?
Yeah, interesting. So, once you were, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Other things that we've noticed out here in our hotspot areas, they're near quarries, rock quarries. Yeah, they're near rock quarries and water systems like rivers. Okay, that's what we've noticed where our hotspots are. So I don't know if there's where these rock quarries. I don't know if they dug into something and activated something or opened up a portal, but something's going on because UFOs are being seen all over these areas, along as cryptids.
So you absolutely believe there's a connection between all of these.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we're about ready to take our next break, and when we come back, I want to talk about why you think there's that connection and what we can do as the paranormal field as a whole to start proving our case, or at least providing the evidence that we need. So when we come back, we're going to chat with that. Folks, I'll be back right after these messages with my guest, Javier Morales from Cryptid 559. Stay tuned and enjoy these messages. We'll be right back. And we are back for the final segment of tonight's show. And before we get going, I want to remind everybody to check out my team at paranormalfbi.com and indianriverhauntings.com. You can also get a hold of me at ghostguy@paranormalstakeout.org. Check out our YouTube channel at Indian River Hauntings 2341. But most importantly, I want you to check out the other great programming on the X Zone Network. xzbn.net will get you to some of the greatest programming in the paranormal world. So I would encourage all of you to do that. Now, Javier, how could people find out a little bit more about you, your website, Facebook? How can they find out more about you?
Well, we're on YouTube. It's Cryptid 559, and then we're on Facebook. It's Cryptid, but it's Roman numerals 559. Facebook won't let me put the 559 for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So folks, check him out when you get a chance. Also, I do find that the Bigfoot project, I'm sorry, Dogman project, North American Dogman project, a very interesting website also. So do check those things
the
out.
North American Dogman Project, yes.
Right. You know, Javier, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I investigate, research something that is outside the norm, and we collect evidence. And a lot of times we catch a lot of naysayers. I'm sure you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Evidence is an important way for us to not only get the word out and help people understand what the phenomenon is, but also separate us from folks that are fakers, charlatans, folks that, how do you see us in this profession as a whole, in your opinion? How do you see us keeping this honest, for lack of a better word?
Just, for us, just sharing our evidence, just sharing our experiences, and it's going to be up to that person to believe you or not. But until they have an encounter, then they're going to understand what you're talking about and what you're, they're going to feel, because they're going to feel and experience the same thing that you're talking about. Now, how did he know that happened? How did he know? Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. So, sharing our stories and our photo evidence and experiences, what we felt, how we felt, what we smelled, what we saw, all this stuff, the tracks, everything. It's just keep sharing it, and people will make videos out there that are, it's gonna be hard now with the AI coming on, and
Absolutely.
it's gonna be really hard to debunk these stuff, but as people who've had encounters, we understand how these creatures move, how we're going to be able to see, that, okay, is it a fake or is it real? It's just going to be by experiences and encounters.
And also, I think how we do things as a whole, how we collect evidence, and that's why I'm a big fan of the structure issue. Although, like I said, I've got a good friend of mine that likes to argue with me about that one.
Yeah.
Now, I saw this video. I've seen it a couple of times, and it's up in your neck of the woods. This Fresno nightcrawler.
The Fresno nightcrawlers, yes.
What is that about? That looks like a pair of pants that are.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Tell me about that.
It's just long legs, a small torso, body, with the head, and then these long legs. Now, what I hear about them out here is that they're a spiritual being. They're a planet, being. Back in the days, this area was a marsh, was wetlands, and these beings were, that's why they have the long legs, so they can walk through the water.
Okay.
That's what I've been told, but they're a spiritual being of nature, and that's what I've been told.
An elemental type of thing?
Yeah, an elemental, yes, sir.
Okay. Where are these stories emanating from?
From the Native Americans.
Okay, so it's a Native American story.
Yep.
Have any of your friends, have they viewed these videos and?
Yeah, they've seen it. They've seen the videos. Yeah, they believe in them. I have not been to that area where this video the security footage of this creature was caught. I have not been out there yet, but I've talked to my friends that have been, and it's just a neighborhood. It's in the outskirts of town.
Mhm.
this big Fresno. You know, it's just out there. It's crazy, but yeah.
How many sightings? And the reason I'm getting into this is going back to the charlatan type thing, because I'm going to be honest with you, the first time I saw it, I had serious questions about it.
Mhm.
But from what you're hearing, many people have experiences other than what we've seen on YouTube.
Yeah, there's some that have had encountered it in Yosemite National Park.
Really?
There's footage out there in Yosemite. There's actual statues made of them, of these
Okay.
creatures. There's you know, the Indian totem poles. There's
Right.
actually natives have structures like the totem poles of them out there in their reservations.
Interesting. Well, see, that's the type of information that needs to come out. That because I have not. That's the first I've heard of that at all. So I find that incredibly
Mhm.
interesting. Um, what are we going to do? What do you see the future of this whole field? Maybe that's the question I want to ask you. What do you see as the whole future of this field?
Well, hopefully everybody, you know, all these groups, paranormal, the cryptid, the Dogman, you know, Sasquatch. There's only certain Sasquatch groups that, you know, they don't believe in the paranormal. They don't. I hope one day we can all just get together and help each other
Oh.
out. You know. And
Well, I think paranormal unity is where it's at, and if it's like you're suggesting that that this is all connected, either spiritually, dimensional, whatever, then they are connected. Then we all do need to work together to come up with an answer. Is
yeah.
it something really spiritual? Is it something out of this world, or is it just us?
Mhm.
And that's a theory that I've often wondered about. Is it just us?
Yeah.
So I really, really do appreciate you. We've run a little over tonight, so we're gonna call it quits now. So I
Okay.
do appreciate you coming on tonight.
Thank you.
I wish you luck with your work.
Thank
Work
you.
on those protocols, and do appreciate. And I
I
thank you for
will.
joining us tonight. So, folks, I appreciate you being with us tonight. We'll be back next week with another great show. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, love your family, and we'll see you on the other side.